So we're here for another jazz roundup for Doodah Dave. Today we've got D for Davis, Miles Davis, the 1961 classic, Someday My Prince Will Come, with the beautiful Frances Davis on the cover, who was a model, and Miles' wife, Miles on the back. Let's run down the band. John Coltrane. Now, I was reading about the recording of the album. At the time of this album coming out in 61, Coltrane had left in 60 to front his own band. He did play on a couple of cuts because Davis was breaking in his new saxophone player, tenor player, Hank Mobley, who's excellent on this as well. But Someday My Prince Will Come, the title cut, which it leads off with, and Tio, written for producer Tio Macero, have Coltrane solos in it. You got the magnificent Paul Chambers on bass, Jimmy Cobb on drums, and Wynton Kelly on the piano, filling in the shoes that Bill Evans had left. There is a seventh cut, a blues number 2, I think it's called, with Philly Joe Jones. It's on the CD version. I have the Columbia Records stereo version. Interesting story about, I heard this on the radio the summer when I was in Nantucket, either 1975, 76. I was working as a waiter there, and I heard it on the radio, and I went down to Nantucket Sound. Get it? Nantucket Sound was the name of the little record place. I said, can you please get me this record, Miles Davis, Someday My Prince Will Come? He goes, yeah, I'll have it for you in about a week. Ordered it, came over on the boat, and I picked it up. So this was bought on the island of Nantucket. Kind of was pretty cool. Heard it coming over the airwaves. Someday My Prince Will Come, which is from the Disney movie, of course, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, 1937. I don't know if Miles had done much Disney before that. Probably not too much. Brubeck did a whole album of Disney stuff, but he was known to do standards and show tunes, but this was a little bit of a departure for him, especially after, you know, Kind of Blue, and he was working with Gil Evans doing the big band stuff, really all the different directions Miles took. I mean, one of the greatest musicians ever, Miles Davis. He is in his own category. Old Folks was the second tune. Francing with a P, that was written for Frances Davis on the cover, his wife. Drad Dog, which I found out was Goddard Lieberson, spelled backwards, Goddard, Drad Dog, who was the president of Columbia Records. Tio, as I mentioned, for Miles's longtime producer, Tio Macero. And I Thought About You, a Burke and Van Heusen tune. So 6 tunes, pretty spread out, a lot of time for soloing, really great stuff. Here's Miles with the butt hanging out of his mouth, and the music stand, and the music, and the hanging microphone. I'm sure that microphone would be worth a few pennies these days. Just a great album. That's the one I picked. I'll go through some of my favorite Miles. I mean, Miles, I really got into Miles first with this album. Bitches Brew, a friend of mine, John Coltrane, who later went on to be a lawyer for Jimmy Buffett. Interesting story. Gave me this, I think around 73, 74. I was, 16, 17, and it's a magnificent jazz album. It really introduced jazz rock, this along with In a Silent Way and Jack Johnson. Just incredible players on here. Wayne Shorter, Lenny White, Benny Maupin, Chick Corea, Jack DeJohnette, Harvey Brooks on bass, Charles Elias on drums, Dave Holland on bass, John McLaughlin on guitar, who has a whole song named after him, and Larry Young, Anoje Allen Gums, I think he was known as later. And Joe, I almost missed Joe Zawinul on electric piano. So just magnificent stuff there with the great cover. We also have on vinyl here Miles Smiles, which was with the Wayne Shorter, Herbie Hancock, Ron Carter, Tony Williams quintet. This is a great album, of course, too. So, it was a hard pick. I mentioned Gil Evans. This is Miles ahead, Miles Davis plus 19. Gil Evans, kind of following up Sketches for Spain. And Milestones I have, which is fantastic, with Cannonball and Trane and Red Garland, Philly Joe Jones, Paul Chambers. Of course, Trane took Chambers for his, with his band. All right, and then I've got some CDs to follow up. Miles Davis love songs. Bitches Brew Again from the 75th anniversary of Miles. These are all on Columbia. Essential Miles Davis, kind of a two disc greatest hits that's got Time After Time on it, I believe. Yeah, towards the end there, the Cyndi Lauper tune that he covered. So he was known to cover eclectic songs for sure. Do Bop, I think this was one of the later ones when he had the red trumpet in the 80s, I believe. I think that was from Sandy's collection. I'll give a shout out to her for that. Miles Davis from the Plug Nickel, again with the shorter Herbie Hancock, Ron Carter, Tony Williams band. That was a place in Chicago from '65, live stuff. Milestones again on CD, and Workin', which was with Trane as well, Red Garland, Chambers, and Jones. So that's, you can see I have quite a bit of Miles Davis. I like him a lot. And I'll show you, wrapping up, the vinyl that's on Columbia. Haven't put this one yet in my Discogs. You can see the label there. Right side up, produced by Teo Macero. So this was his 8th album, Someday My Prince Will Come, on Columbia. And, he had the success of Kind of Blue, which is considered to be a 5-star. I was looking at some of the reviews. I mean, almost all of them, in that period, he could kind of do no wrong. He was getting 5 stars with everything. He was doing movie soundtracks for directors, French directors, and yeah, Miles Davis, D. So we'll follow up with E. I don't know what we're going to do for E. I'll find something creative. If I was Apple, I would do my Elvin Jones album. I have an Elvin Jones who played with Trane and Trane's band. Elvin Jones Live at the Lighthouse, which is a pretty cool record. I think it has Dave Liebman on tenor, if I'm not, who also played with Miles. I mean, once you start getting into Miles, you find the people that played with Miles are legendary. Mike Stern, the guitar player, Darryl Jones, who now plays for the Rolling Stones, played with Miles. Dave Liebman, I mentioned, great tenor player. On and on and on. An awful lot of people went through Miles's band, and it was a real badge of honor. It was a real Jazz Congressional Medal of Honor if you played with Miles. It was the thing. And many of the people that I read off had their own bands. Adderley, Hancock, of course. Shorter joined Weather Report. Zawinul and Shorter did that. McLaughlin had many different bands. They all went on to, most of them, to form their Tony Williams, at Tony Williams' lifetime, several incarnations. So anybody that played with him pretty much went on to front their own bands and had their own solo albums. Benny Maupin, the great bass clarinet player in the tradition of Eric Dolphy. So that's D. Vinyl heads, vinyl community, keep on rocking out there. Good to see you. We'll try to keep one a week. I know I've kind of fallen down. I've been working a lot. And keep the good vibes, and keep spinning, keep smiling, and keep the love vibration high. All right. We'll see you soon. Take care.